Hi and welcome back to my channel. I'm Simon and today I'm back very excitedly, for it is my favourite time of year. As this goes live, it will be the 1st of September, which, according to the Savidge Faculty of Sciences, means that it is the first day of autumn, my absolute favourite season. It's just my favourite time of year. It's when I feel most me. I can crack out the autumnal colours. I can possibly pop a few jumpers on, and I can get cracking with like reading in those nights where it starts to get darker and darker and darker and you just want to curl up more and more and more and more with books. So what I thought I would do is talk about some books that are, what's the word I want to say, kind of giving me the autumn vibe of what I want my reading to be. And this is partly inspired by two people, well, thanks to two people. One is the lovely Nathan at Nathan's Nook, who I adore and who every season will do these amazing sort of, what's the word? He does this sort of guide to what his next season of reading is going to be based on certain feelings or thoughts or vibes or images or themes, and I really, really love it.
Okay, I think we're good. It's your boy Nate. I read books because reading is sexy, and if you're not reading, you're not sexy. You can't see it, but I've been lovingly held hostage to give you this monologue for September, for fall. So, I think good boy Simon's gonna give it to you good. The vibes. Gilmore Girls gone bad. I'm thinking about the sisterhood and those traveling pants. What kind of pants were they? Culottes? I love the luxury of love in a group setting, shared, spread out, but I love when demure sours into bad. Bad. I'm not talking about brat bad or mosh fag bad, but one that is soft, can veer off in so many directions. Misunderstood. Have you ever misunderstood your own diary entries? What secrets did you not remember then that could have been heard now? Kiss and tell, but tell it to me in a whisper, over a whiskey sour. Thin black straws with thin lips to match. I want a secret that I can hold in my hands. I want stories of youth and splendor, ruined, but in the sly kind of way. I want the stories that have slipped us up, that go unnoticed in pubs too crowded, in nights too dark. All right, Simon, take it away. Love you.
And I can't be as clever as him, and I also wouldn't want to copy him, but I have been inspired by him, and I hope he would appreciate that homage, because with the books that I'm going to talk about here, the 5 that I've picked for now, I am hoping that you'll get a sort of, there's certain words and sort of things that are going to appeal to me where I want to make my reading a bit intentional in autumn, whilst also still, I mean, it's still August as I'm filming this, to be fair, but whilst also still reading by whim. There was a potential I was going to be judging a prize over the autumn into the spring. I'm not now, so the rest of the year is going to be whimtastic, which I'm very excited about. Now, the other person who I have to thank for this video is the lovely Anton the Hun Her. If you've not seen our video together, please go and check it out. I'll link it down below because I adore Anton. He's a translator extraordinaire. His debut novel is just an absolute banger, Toward Eternity. We talk about that and translation and him judging the Booker International and much more. There's some fantastic recommendations for books in translation, including this one, which admittedly I already had a copy of. However, the font was really, really tiny, so I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to get to that because font is becoming more and more important to me, and that's one thing going forward for autumn and indeed for the rest of the year and my life. Decent fonts only, please. But yeah, I saw this edition of the book, which is a hardback and bigger, and so I thought the font will be bigger, and thankfully it is. But when it arrived and I looked at it, I was like, this is giving me lots of the sort of autumn feels that I want from my reading going forward. And the book is The End of August by Yu Miri, and it's translated by Morgan Giles. Now, that cover to me is giving autumn. It's not the usual autumnal spectrum of colours that I would pick. I would tend to head for like your oranges, your delicious browns from your chocolatey to your kind of ochre heading into green, and that sort of gamut, sort of even maybe this kind of colour too. But that red, it's giving me autumn. It's sort of giving me bonfire. I don't know why, because it's not. It's mountains. Now this book is also multi-generational. I'm in the mood for that. I think this autumn, one thing that I'm after is girth. I want chunksters. I want books I can get really, really lost in and just spend loads of time with those characters and in those places and in those walks of life. You know, good old chunkster, girthy boys and girls, please. And I also think it's going to be an autumn of the hardback. Because one thing that I'm really aware of is that I haven't started doing the library and sorting it out properly, and that is also going to be a goal for autumn, but we're talking about my books in this video and my reading vibes. But yeah, there's something about this. Also, I will say hot pink has been really hot this year, and there's a lot of books that I've wanted to get to with hot pink on the cover, and that's also something that I really want to get through. So this book, plus I want to read more translated fiction, and I'm going to aim to try and read all of the books on Anton's recommendations, on his recommendations. I want to read all of Anton's recommendations that he made in that video, which I'll link down below, and I may well do a wrap up of those all at some point, because there are a few in there that are quite dark and quirky and a little bit sinistry, which is also very, very autumn. Anyway, I feel like I've digressed. Also, really want to head to some more outdoorsy books, which we'll come to a little bit. There's the hot pink, there's the hardback. I've got a set of shelves outside which are all hardbacks I've got proofs of and stuff in here, so I'd like to kind of clear those out as I can over the autumn. So yeah, this book symbolises a lot. Also, banging font. Can we have that, please? And also, postcards from places books are set as bookmarks. That's going to be another autumnal thing. This is Jimbocho in Tokyo, Japan, and this book is set in, I believe, South Korea and Japan. So yeah, that's the first of the books that are inspiring my autumn reads and will also be one of my autumn reads. Now, the next book symbolised one word only.
And that's a word that I want to kind of run through autumn and indeed the rest of the year. But we'll talk about winter at some point because I've got slightly different feels for winter that I've already started to think about. But
the word that this book symbolises is favourites. It's my favourite season, and I want to make sure that I'm getting to all the books by my favourite authors that have come out this year that I haven't got to yet because I'm saving for a rainy day. And let's be honest, autumn in the north of the UK, there's going to be rain. And so those rainy days will be spent curled up with the cats. And I should say, we do have a temporary new one. I'll put a picture of Earl here. You've not met him yet. But yeah, I want to head to my favourites. And this is a book that I keep putting off for a rainy day. Actually, on that note, I believe it has rain involved in it because it's all about water and rivers in the sky and yeah. But this I have so many times picked up to read and just have got so nervous about it. And I just need that to not happen. You know, life's for living. Life is short. I don't know how many books I've got ahead in my lifetime, but I want to make sure that I get to more of my favourites. Long story short, favourite. It's my favourite season, favourite authors. That's a big thing for the autumn. Favourites in fall. Let's go for that one. Favourite fall? Favourites in fall. I like favourites in fall. That's nice. Now, the next book, I mentioned outdoors earlier, and this book appeals to me in many ways, or kind of this book sums up a word that appeals to me in many ways. I think, I haven't read it yet, so I can't actually say if this is going to be the book that I think it is, but I'm hoping it is. And the next word that I want to kind of be a really, is pivotal the right word? But like a real theme in all its different facets and meanings is crumble. Now, partly that is because apple crumble in the autumn, and actually rhubarb crumble to be fair, but I'd go for an apple first. I think I've once had a pineapple crumble, but let's stick with apple for now. Let's not get too fancy. You're a boy from Matlock, well, a man from a bear from Matlock Bath. Don't get ahead of your station, Simon. I want books that have a crumble or a crumbling nature to them. So books that are in crumbly old houses or crumbly old cottages, or where characters crumble, or almost like fracture and yeah, you know, that sort of feel, but also the crumbly nature of soil and outside, because not only have I recently gained a new cat, I've also recently gained an allotment, which is going to be a big part of my autumn, sorting that out, sorting the library out. I mean, it's going to be a wild time in a very much middle-aged verging on Nana fashion, which is what I enjoy. So anyway, the book that kind of represents sort of crumbling in all these ways to me is I Died at Fallow Hall by Bonnie Burke Patel. This is about a woman who goes to, I'm hoping, crumbling old cottage and takes over the garden, which made me think of allotments and sorting it out, which is certainly something that's going to be happening with the allotment that I have taken over / well, not inherited, but taken over, because it needs, I mean, it's wild, but anyway, moving on. Simon, this woman ends up sort of going to this cottage, doing up this garden and taking it over and doing it up and taking it over and doing it up. She takes over this garden, and as she's doing it up and sorting it out, she finds bones, and then I think it becomes a sort of murder mystery from there. That's also a really big thing that I'd like to head to this autumn, and that is the literary thriller. I have The God in the Woods, I have the next Kate Atkinson. Speaking of favourites, because I forgot to say that there's quite a lot of favourites of mine that I've got books coming out. There's lots of favourites that come in, so I want to make sure that I head to those. But yeah, I want to get more into literary thrillers. So The God in the Woods, which again has an outdoory feel about it too, and woods are so autumnal, I think, because they're a bit witchy, and obviously it's going to be Halloween and sinister, and I want crumbling old mansions and crumbling old cottages and crumbling soil, and yeah, that's just me going on a tangent about all this. So this book, to me, I feel like I need to do a recap because I've on so many tangents, but yeah, I'll do a recap at the very end. I want books that have either crumbling characters, crumbling places, or crumbling soil in some way, and I'm definitely down for some literary thrillers. I think it might be time for me to read Calla by Colin Walsh, because Mum's been raving about that recently. Then the next book is kind of a sub-theme within what I want to head to over the autumn, and that's because I'm really proud, and this is actually, I think, a very autumnal shade, this cover, the sort of summer end of autumn, I would say, but I really want to head to a lot more Australian fiction in particular, and have an Australian autumn. This is A Language of Limbs by Dylan Hardcastle. I have heard this is absolutely incredible. It is a story of two queer women during the 1970s in Australia, and I think it's their lives as they lead up to meeting each other, and shines a real light on the quite difficult, to put it mildly, period in history for queer people in Australia at that time. I've only heard amazing things from people I trust very much over in Australia about this, and I had it shipped over with a few other little Australian treats that I would also like to get to. So yeah, Australian fiction, I'm definitely going to be heading to a lot more of that. And I'm aware that there's a lot of fiction going on there, and November is non-fiction November. And I mean, I really think autumn lasts until pretty much Christmas Eve, if I'm honest. Yes, that's right, from September the 1st to December the 24th. I used to think that Christmas Day was on the 24th, so I still get a little bit worried that I've said the wrong date. But yeah, from the 1st of September, or today as you're watching this, until Christmas Eve, it's autumn, right? But non-fiction wise, I want to be heading for non-fiction that is either a bit naughty, a bit unhinged, a bit uncomfortable. I'm starting to go with all the unwords which I did with my summer predictions, and frankly we haven't really had a summer here in the UK, so that's why I don't think I really stuck to that path, and I will keep those in the thematic prompty drawer of possibility for next summer. But yeah, I want either non-fiction that's a bit naughty, I want it to be unhinged, different. I want not your average non-fiction book, basically. And the book that I meant to read, I think over the summer, actually, I don't know if I included it in my summer one, but if I did, I'm carrying it over. I don't go and watch my own videos back, I won't lie, is Sociopath by Patrick Cagney, which is Patrick's memoir about being a sociopath, and I think sounds quite unusual, certainly, and definitely compelling. And I think from what I've heard from different people who've read it, you can't work out how much you're being played with by the sociopath writing the book, and that really, really intrigues me. I'm up for a little bit of mind games potentially this autumn, in fiction and non-fiction, not in real life, please, thank you very much, and certainly not in my DMs. So yeah, that felt like suddenly I sort of went really flat. I think it's because this book in particular inspired so many of my sort of autumn aspirations. Oh, there we go. I love alliteration. That yeah, I think as it goes on, it's kind of become more simplistic, and maybe what I needed to do was just actually just say all the things that this book inspired, but I was like, no, there are other things that I want to head to. So to recap, because I would love your recommendations for my, what did I just call them? Autumn aspirations. Yeah, I would love for you to tell me of some corking books that are big multi-generational family sagas. I want books that are big, chunky, girthy, but completely and utterly addictive tomes. I want books that have got the hot pink going on. You can't predict whether I'm going to have a hardback edition of a book or not, but I'm really all about the hardbacks over this autumn and probably the winter actually too. And I would like any sort of really autumnal, ready sort of covers. Maybe actually I've just noticed that this is also a bit of a red thing, but that's a bit of a hard ass too, so scrap all of that. What I would like is your recommendations of big multi-generational, possibly multi-narrative, chunky, girthy tomes. I'd like that. I'd like any books that have got hot pink on the cover that you've read that match sort of the vibes of all of the books, or just have been brilliant and happen to be hot pink. Hot pink books, that's what I want. And also any books by women in translation that, sorry, any books in translation that you think I would really, really like, that also stick to all of the different themes that I talked about. You can't predict who my favourites are, but I'd love to know in the comments down below your favourite authors who have books coming out this autumn or fall, for favourite fall, favourites in the fall. Wow, we've got autumn aspirations and favourites in the fall so far. We're doing well. Yeah, I would love to hear which of your favourite authors have got books coming out this autumn that you're desperate to get to and you think you're going to fall in love with. And then I'd love to know books that are crumbly, be it that they're set in a crumbly old cottage, a crumbly old castle, a crumbly old mansion, books that feel like a good apple crumble, because I would like some cosy shenanigans going on, but also literary thrillers that you've really, really enjoyed, and also books with kind of that outdoor allotmenty, gardeny, crumbly soil kind of feel about them. That's quite specific, I won't lie. Then any Australian fiction you've absolutely loved this year, I'd love to know that down in the comments below too. And unusual, unhinged, naughty, possibly even a little bit nasty non-fiction books that I might enjoy. I'd love that too. Anyway, the front door's just gone, so that's my cue to go. That was a bit of a manic video, let's not pretend otherwise. But yeah, I'd love to know what your autumn aspirations are, what your favourites in fall might be, but also any books that match the sort of vibe and themes of these 5. I would love to know that in the comments down below, because you can never get enough recommendations, frankly. And on the subject, sorry, I nearly swallowed my own tongue, it felt like I was about to do there, and almost choked to death live on camera. But on the subject of autumn recommendations, because I did say in my July wrap-up, which I'll link down below too, that if you would like an autumn recommendations video, I could do one. I'm actually going to be doing one with Mum, and that'll be on her channel very, very soon. So hopefully you'll enjoy that. Do please go and check out the interview with Anton after you've left your comments. recommendations, thoughts. I love having a chat with you about those in the comments down below. And also, if you want more Savidge shenanigans, you can go to my Patreon, my Instagram, my Twitter, my wishlist, all those things down below. And I, as always, hope that you're reading something fabulous, funky, or I've never said that before, so I don't know where that came from, but I hope you are reading something fabulous and or funky. And I will see you in another video very, very soon. Bye.